Hello everyone, welcome back to yoga class. Today we'll be moving through a sequence to ease pain, test our balance, and strengthen. We'll get started with our breath work, so find a comfortable seat. If you're in a seated position and you have your knees bent, if you find that this is not comfortable for you, you can try extending the legs and see if that's more comfortable. Another option you have is that you can take a blanket or a pillow, a bolster, maybe even a block to sit on. This is going to lift the hips higher up than the knees, and that'll be a little more comfortable. That's going to rotate your pelvis. So getting started, make sure that you find a straight spine. So rather than the spine rounded, we want the shoulders above the hips and we want the ears above the shoulders. Think about reaching the crown of the head up towards the sky and at the same time rooting the hips down into the mat. Now let those arms relax. Oftentimes we see pictures of people extending their arms and activating. We don't need to worry about this during our breath work, so just let the elbows bend, let the arms soften. You can try rotating your palms down. This would be a nice intention for grounding. Or if you feel that you need a little more energy, you can rotate those palms facing up. You can also have your hands in your lap if you like that better. So once you have your hands set up like you'd like, go ahead and bring the gaze inward by allowing the eyes to close. Take an inhale breath and an exhale breath. Now continue to breathe. Notice if your breath is short. If so, take time to practice lengthening the breath. You can do this by inhaling all the way until you can't take in any more air. And when you're ready to exhale, slowly release the air. So we want to match the exhalation to the inhalation. Continue to breathe. It's very common for us to have a shorter exhalation than inhalation. So we'll just practice continuing to match that breath. Inhale slowly to the top of the breath. Feel the chest expand. And as you exhale, slowly release the air, completely emptying out. Sit with this breath. Notice your awareness moving to your physical body. Continue to breathe. Allow yourself time to transition to your practice. Whatever has been on your mind, just leave anything. Just pause here and now for your practice. Know that whatever you need to tend to will be there for you, waiting for you at the end of practice. For now, just focus on this breath. And take a moment to choose an intention for your practice if you'd like. If you're not sure what your intention is, it may be something physical, like balance, strength, easing pain. Or it could be something else, like peace or letting go. Whatever you need today, right now, invite that energy in to support you during your practice. Exhale, sigh of relief. Couple more rounds of breath, inhaling fully, exhaling completely. One more full round of breath. Let it go. Wherever the arms are, bring them outside of the hips. Just release a little tension from the shoulders. Inhale, let the shoulders shrug up to the ears. Exhale, bring the shoulders back and down. And again, inhale, shrug the shoulders up. Exhale, back and down. Continue to move with your breath. Each time you take an inhale, the shoulders shrug up. Each time you exhale, send the shoulders back and down. The movement is following the breath. We'll take a couple more. And the next time the shoulders move away from the ears, let them stay there. We're coming into a supported forward fold. We will need a prop for this because our prop is going to help us by taking the work out of the legs so that we can focus on stretching the back and decompressing the spine. There are lots of different props that you can use. I'm going to use a blanket today. You can use a bolster. You can use a foam roller. You can use a pillow. You can use blocks. So whatever you have in your home space, whatever you feel is supporting you the best for this option, find what that is. If you need a little time, you can pause the video. And when you come back, we'll start in our seated forward fold. So to set up, the prop is going to go underneath the knees. Because I'm working with a blanket, I'm going to open it up so that I can roll it. This shape is going to fit really nicely at the back of my knees. And then I'll position the back of my knees directly onto that prop. I'll let my feet relax, so there's no need to point or flex right now. We're just letting the feet relax. We start in a straight spine. The hips are grounded. Take an inhale breath, and then exhale, fold forward. Now, as you fold forward, feel the sensation in the back space. Pause wherever you feel a stretch. Relax your head and your neck. You don't need to worry with holding your head up. You might feel your torso resting on your thighs. You might fold a little deeper with your next exhale. Wherever you find the most comfort in this option, breathe into it. If you feel any stress in your shoulders, you can take your arms out to the sides, palms facing up, completely relaxing the shoulders. Exhale, lower the head even more. Breathe. On our next inhale breath, we'll slowly start to come up, lifting crown of the head up towards the ceiling. And we'll remove the prop from underneath, just set it aside for now. We might want to come back to it later. Now for our next option, we're going to be stretching one side at a time. We'll start by extending one leg. So one leg is straight and we want the leg to come out. So rather than having it centered with the body, it's going to come a little wider. Now your opposite leg, the knee is bent. The sole of the foot meets the inner thigh. if your bent knee is hovering up high, that's okay. That just means that that hip is a little tight today, and you can support yourself by taking a block or a blanket or a pillow to support that leg. This way you're not holding the leg up and you're not holding tension on one side while you're trying to stretch the other side. So first make sure that this bent knee leg is completely supported so it can just rest. And some of you might not need a prop. Now, once you have your legs set up, take your hands to your ribs. Rotate your torso to face your straight leg. As you inhale, reach your fingers up. And as you exhale, fold, hinge at the hips. Now, as you fold, you might feel a stretch at the hamstring, back of the thigh. As you lower down, you may feel a stretch in the back space. Really focus on getting your belly and your chest to face your straight leg. Forehead lowering down. You might feel a stretch on the side body. Wherever you feel the stretch, settle into it. Relax the head, relax the neck. Breathe. Let this space open up. With each exhale breath, let the tension go. 2 more rounds of breath. As you inhale, lift the head up. Bring your torso to center. We'll do that same thing now on the other side. So the knee that has been bent, we'll extend it out. And now we'll bend the opposite knee. Bring the sole of the foot to meet the inner thigh. If you need a wider angle, that's okay. You can play around with that. And then notice how this side feels. So this hip might be tighter, it might be a little more open. You might need the same propping or a different setup. Feel into that side. Notice how you can support it before you come in to stretch the side that we're focusing on. And then when you're ready, take your hands to your ribs. Rotate your torso to face your extended leg. Inhale, reach those fingers up. And then exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward. Let your arms rest down. Bring your belly and your chest towards your leg. Simply notice where you feel the stretch. Allow yourself to sink into the shape with each exhale. And continue to deepen the breath. Giving yourself time to open and release on this side. 2 more rounds of breath. Last round of breath. Inhale, lift the head up. Exhale, find your way back to center. Now we'll extend both legs. We'll take a seated forward fold, but this time we're not going to use the prop. So we'll set up first by making the legs straight. And before we actually come into that stretch, we're going to stretch the top of the feet and the ankles and the calf muscles. So support yourself by bringing your hands outside of your hips. When you look at your legs, make sure that your feet are together, your ankles are together, your legs are together. Now, as you inhale, point your toes, and as you exhale, flex your feet. So as you inhale, point the toes away from the body. Exhale, flex the feet, bring the toes towards the body. 1 more round. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, reach the arms up. Find that L shape. And then exhale, hinge at the hips. Dive forward. Come into your fold. Now you may feel the stretch in the back space and also in the hamstrings. You only need to fold enough to feel the sensation. You don't need to worry about pushing it too much. You want to honor your body. We're looking for a manageable stretch for 2 more rounds of breath. For the last round of breath, as you exhale, maybe fold a little deeper, finding your fullest expression. And on your next inhale, slowly start to rise up. Give yourself all the time that you need until you can come back into that L shape. And take a round of breath here. Now from here, if it's comfortable and available in your body, find your comfortable seat with bent knees. Remember, if having your knees bent is really not comfortable, you can straighten the legs. You can take any shape with the legs that you'd like. We're gonna come into some spinal twisting. So, to start, hands are gonna come outside of the hips. This is gonna be a moving twist. Inhale, let your arms come up, fingers reach up. Exhale, twist to one side. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist to the opposite side. Inhale, center. Each time you exhale, twist. Each time you inhale, find center. Continue to move with your breath. We'll take 2 more on each side. Last round. Next inhale brings us to center. And the next exhale brings the arms down. Enjoy a round of breath here. And as you exhale, let your chin tuck towards your chest. Pause here, feel a nice stretch at the back of the neck. If this stretch feels good to you, you can stay here. Or you can move your head from side to side, bringing one ear above the shoulder, chin to chest, opposite ear above the shoulder. So you're making half circles. Noticing with this movement if one side feels tighter than the other. And if so, let yourself pause and breathe into it. And then let yourself even out the sides. Eventually finding your way to center. As you inhale, lift the chin, gaze forward. We'll now change the station of our body from seated into a kneeling position. Now remembering our knees, we might need a prop to support the knees if it doesn't feel good to you to have your knees pressing into the mat. This is really going to depend on your history with your knees and your floor situation. So we'll come into tabletop. As you come into tabletop, spread your fingers, position the wrist in line with the shoulders, position the knees under the hips. Now, if you're feeling discomfort in the knees, this is where you're going to open up a prop like this blanket. Some of you might have a knee mat. That's going to give you more cushion. And with your knees more comfortable, you'll enjoy the movement more. So however you set yourself up, taking spinal movements. As we inhale, we'll let the belly lower towards the mat. And as we exhale, we'll lift the back as if we're going to tap the ceiling with our back. Inhale, belly lowers towards the mat. Exhale, lift your back. Create space between the shoulder blades. Continue to move with your breath. Let your movement be exaggerated. And simply tune in, notice how it feels as you move. Notice what your body is telling you. Take one more full round. And then arrive back to a neutral tabletop. Now checking in on our legs. Lift the right leg, extend it, bring the right toes down to the back of the mat. The toes are connected to the mat. Now as you do this, press your heel back. Feel the stretch intensify at the calf muscle. Breathe for one more full round of breath. Inhale, lift the right leg up. Exhale, cross it over the left leg. Tap the right toes down off the mat. Look past your left shoulder. Look back to your foot. Feel a stretch at the right side body. On your next inhale breath, lift your leg up. And as you exhale, bend your knee. Send your right knee down to the mat or to your prop. Take a full round of breath here. Inhale through your nostrils. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Inhale, now lift the left leg, extend it, straighten it. Bring the left toes to the back of the mat. Once the toes are positioned, press the heel back. Feel a nice stretch at the calf muscle. On your next inhale, lift your leg up. Exhale, cross it over the right leg. Let the toes tap down off the mat. Turn and look past your right shoulder. Look back to your foot. Feel the stretch at the left side body. And then inhale, bring it to center. Exhale, bend the knee, take it down to the mat. Enjoy a full round of breath. Now from here, let yourself come out of tabletop for just a moment, positioning yourself however is comfortable. Know that we're going to change our propping now. So we're going to need our blocks. We're going to use one block at a time. If you were using something to support your knees, you can choose to leave it on your mat or not, depending on what it is and how it works for you. We will take one block to the lowest height. Now, this block is going to go underneath your knee or your shin. If you have knee issues, you're going to put your shin on the block rather than your knee so that your kneecap is completely free. So to show you what this looks like, it's going to happen from a tabletop position. I will bring the block to the mat, and then I take my knee, or for those of us that have knee issues, we bring the shin onto the block, toes can tap down. This way the kneecap is free. Now, lift your opposite knee in line with the knee on the block. As you inhale, focus on just lifting your hip up of your free leg. And as you exhale, tap your knee to the mat. Inhale, send the hip straight up. Exhale, tap the knee down. Let's try 3 more. Inhale, lifts the hip straight up. Exhale, tap it down. 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, tap it down. Last one on this side. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, tap it down. All right, so we're going to do that same thing on the other side. Take a breath if you need to. And then when you're ready, bring that block underneath the opposite knee or shin, depending on what feels best in your body. The toes can be connected to the mat. This is the leg that we're going to have grounded. Set up in your tabletop. Now lift your opposite knee so that it's hovering and in line with your supported knee. Inhale, send the hip straight up to the ceiling. Exhale, tap the knee down. Inhale, lift the hip up. Exhale, tap it down. 3 more. Inhale, lift the hip up. Exhale, tap it down. 2 more. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, tap it down. Last one. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, tap the knee down. Remove the block from underneath your leg. And go ahead and bring your knees together, feet together. Let your shins and the top of your feet be your foundation. Now, coming back to if we have knee issues, we can bring a blanket or a pillow between the thighs and the calf muscles to help bridge any gap there. From here, we lower the forehead to the mat and bring the arms by our sides. Child's pose. If the forehead doesn't meet the mat, we can use a block to support the forehead. You can also use a pillow. And some of you might not need any propping at all. But if you do, you know what you can use. We'll release the low back. Let any pain that might be stuck in that area go. Inhale, lift the head. And then exhale, take the hands forward. Separate the knees. Take a round of breath. Now we're going to continue to work with the low body, the hips. We're also going to invite the blocks back to support us. So now we need 2 blocks. Take the blocks to the highest height. Take your hands to the blocks. Remember, if you need a prop for your knees, you can invite it back onto the mat if you removed it for that last exercise. So we're starting with a knee down lunge, a supported knee down lunge with the blocks. When you're ready, lift one knee. Take your time to either bring your foot forward. If that feels difficult, bring it further out and then shimmy it in. So as you press your hips forward, we want the knee tracking above the ankle. Now, when I press my hips forward, my knee goes past my toes. So to check my alignment, I'm going to walk my foot further forward. Now when I press my hips forward, now I can get my knee aligned above my ankle. So the leg that's behind, I'm opening up the psoas muscle. That's going to be really helpful for my hip and also to release my low back. So the hands can stay on the blocks to be supported. If you want to go further and test your balance, you can bring your hands to your thigh. Make sure you're not pressing on your knee, but keep your palms to your thigh. That's going to help you go deeper if you want to. Now, if your hands are on your thigh, bring your hands back to your blocks. The blocks are important because that way we're not dumping our weight forward by trying to connect our hands to the mat. Now, we'll shift the hips back just enough so that the hips are in line with the back knee. Now, the goal is to get this front leg straight and to lift the toes off the mat. We're supported with our hands on the blocks. When we're ready, we can bend our elbows and bring our torso towards our straight leg, the leg that's in the front. Notice that the more you fold, the deeper you're going to feel a stretch at the hamstring. Now, depending on how open you are, you might be able to bring your hands, your palms or your fingertips down to the mat. Find that place of a nice stretch, but without pushing yourself to major discomfort. On your next inhale, lift your head. Find your blocks if you let them go. Moving between those two postures, as you inhale, bend your front knee, press your hips forward. And as you exhale, send the hips back, straighten the leg. Let's do that a couple more times. Inhale, bend the knee. Exhale, send the hips back. And again, inhale, bends the knee. Exhale, send the hips back, straighten the leg. Now slide your front foot back to bring the knees in line with each other. You can bring your knees and feet together again for child's pose for the low back, or if you rather focus on the hips, you're going to take the knees wide, big toes together, send your hips towards your heels. Now this is going to be more for hip opening. Let the blocks go for now. Bring your arms down to the mat, bring your forehead to the mat. Find a reflective pause here for a few rounds of breath. Check in and notice if you feel a difference from one hip to the other. Know that next we'll be coming into the other side. Inhale lifts the head. Exhale, walk the hands towards the body. Lift your hips. Bring the knees back underneath the hips, setting up for that tabletop. And then grab one block at a time, taking your hands to the highest height of the block. This is going to be a supported option. So now we lift the opposite knee and we either bring it forward, or if it's easier, you can bring it out wider and then shimmy the foot in. This way, when you bend your knee's tracking above your ankle. And if the knee comes past the toes, shimmy the foot forward. So we want the knee above the ankle when you're pressing your hips forward as much as you can, but still maintaining your balance. Now feel the opening at the front of this hip. This is a really great stretch if you spend a lot of time sitting. Breathe into it. We'll take one more full round of breath in this shape. And then slowly and carefully press your hands to the blocks, send the hips back. Just enough to position the hip above the back knee. Now the front leg is straight. Take an inhale breath. And as you exhale, bend the elbows, lower your torso towards your front leg. Now remember, your hands can stay on the blocks. If you're pretty flexible, you might take the palms or the fingertips to the mat instead. This will depend on your level of comfort. Make sure to listen to your body. Notice the stretch deepen if you fold more. On your next inhale breath, let the head lift. Reach the hands to find the blocks if you let them go. Support yourself again. Get that height with the blocks under the hands. Now moving between these two poses, as you inhale, bend your knee, press your hips forward. As you exhale, send the hip back, straighten the leg. Each time you inhale, bend the knee. And each time you exhale, send the hip back. And again. And we'll meet with our front knee bent. Pressing into the blocks. Slide the foot back. Move the hips back. Now, if you took the option of opening the knees to the width of the mat and bringing the big toes together, go ahead and set that up again for hip opening child's pose. And remember, to get more of a release for your low back, you can bring knees together, shins together, feet together. For the hip opening option, the arms extend forward. The forehead meets the mat. Check in on both hips. As you exhale, let your body soften, melt down. Let go of the need to hold on. Slowly let yourself come out. Inhale, press the hips forward. Exhale, press palms to the mat. Slowly bring the knees back in underneath the hips. Now we're in a tabletop kneeling position. From here, we want to find a standing position. Your choice how you want to come into it. I recommend curling your toes, lifting your hips way up high, pressing the hips back, sending the chest towards the thighs, getting a down dog, and then slowly walking your feet towards your hands. Now, once your feet come towards your hands, let the knees take a little micro bend if they need. If the stretch is too much for the hamstrings, knees are going to bend as much as you need them to. Now the arms can dangle, or the hands can find opposite elbows, framing the head with the arms, getting more traction for the spine, allowing the spine to decompress again. Noticing how it feels to balance yourself. This is our standing forward fold. Now, if your hands are grabbing your elbows, release the hands, let them go. Bend the knees even more. Now, really take your time. See if you can take 3 full rounds of breath to slowly roll up. Slow, slow, slow. All the way to a standing position. Take your time. Now, as you move towards the standing position, Let the shoulders shrug up, back, and down. Arms are by your sides. Notice how it feels to have your feet as your foundation. Here you can lift your toes, spread them wide, and then place them back down onto the mat. Firmly pressing your feet to the mat. Feeling this new foundation. Coming back into a reflective pause, checking in on the breath. Slowing the breath if that's available. You might even close your eyes for just a moment and notice how that changes your balance. If you close your eyes, let the eyes flutter open. Let your feet be hip distance. Check to make sure there's enough space for one more foot to fit in between your 2 feet. So coming into a standing balance, which is also going to strengthen our foundational leg. We're coming into tree pose, and we've got a few different options. So don't worry, we'll find one that works for you. Starting with option 1, you're going to lean weight into the leg that's going to be your foundational leg. The opposite foot, you're going to lift the heel. Now you can slide those toes right up to your grounded foot. This is option 1 for our tree pose. This might be enough for you today. And if so, great, stay here. If you want to go deeper, lift your foot, bring the arch of your foot to your calf muscle. Now, this might feel a little wobbly, that's okay. You might take your hands to your hips, see how that feels. You might shimmy over to a wall space and position your hand of the same side arm as your standing leg to the wall. Or you can grab onto the back of a chair. So you've got options. If your balance is really stable today, then you might even go deeper. You might reach same side hand to the bent knee, bent leg. As you reach for your ankle, you're going to lift your foot up. Make the connection. Bring the sole of your foot to your inner thigh. The knee is out. Hands are at the hips. Hands might stay here, or you might play around with bringing your hands to prayer position. Palms meeting, thumbs at the heart center. Now feel the engagement of your standing leg. Notice all the parts. Feel the calf, feel the thigh, feel the hips, feel the glute, and breathe. Now, if you've tried this option and it's a little too much for you, that's totally okay. You can come into a different option. Just make sure that the sole of your foot is not pressing directly onto your knee. You can even reach your arms up if you want to play with your balance even more. Let yourself feel into the pose. Let your body activate, and don't forget to breathe. And then come out when you're ready. Shift the weight over to the other leg. The standing leg that you just practice on, just lift the knee, take it up and around, just flossing out the hip, letting go of any tension there. And then take a few circles in the opposite direction. You can also use the wall to support you here. Great, now we'll set these toes down. Toes can be out or they can be right up against that grounded foot. So now trying the other side. As we come into the other side, know that it's very common for us to have one side that's stronger than the other. Totally normal. Just feel what this side is telling you and which option it wants to take today. So first option, toes are grounded of the bent knee, the heel is lifted. Option 2, You can take the sole of the foot to the calf muscle. Hands can be at the hips. Feel your foundational foot working, finding that stability. Option 3, you're going to reach the hand for the foot, connecting sole of the foot to the inner thigh. Give yourself time. Take the hand variation that you'd like to explore or the one that's working for you on this side. Remember, you can also fly the arms if that feels good. Don't forget to breathe. When you're ready to come out slowly. As you lower this foot down, shift the weight back over, lift the knee, take your circles, floss it out, 3 in one direction, and then 3 in the opposite direction. So releasing any tension there at the hip, place the foot down. All right, now we've got just a few more options. Know that the one that we're gonna come into next is a standing balance as well. It's also a really deep hip opener. The tree pose that we just did is a hip opener. The knee is out, we've got external rotation. In our standing figure 4, same thing, but you're gonna feel a deeper stretch in the hip. So just know how to set up for that. In this variation, you might wanna start with the wall if you're really struggling with your balance today, or if this is the first time that you're doing it. In this case, you're gonna want the wall right in front of you so that you can position both palms at the wall space. So I'll show you both views of what it looks like. To set up for the standing figure 4, you'll lift one knee on an inhale breath. As you exhale, let that knee come out. Bring the ankle to the opposite thigh. Then you're gonna sit back and reach the arms forward and up. Okay, so that's what the front view looks like. Rather than reaching your hands up, remember you can take your palms to the wall. Now the side view looks like this. So we want to think about sitting back rather than leaning forward. So come into the shape, decide if you want your hands at the wall, if you want your hands at a chair, or if it's okay for you to let your hands hover. Maybe they're back to the heart center. Maybe they even come down to blocks, or maybe your fingertips meet the mat. Lots of options. Feel that nice stretch at the hip. Breathe into it. Come out when you're ready. Take a full round of breath. And when you're ready, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. As you inhale, lift the knee, bend it. Exhale, let the knee move out. Bring the ankle to the thigh. Now sit back. Reach the hands forward. Knee is bent. Think about sitting back rather than leaning forward. Remember, your palms can come to the wall space directly in front of you or to a chair. Or the hands can come down, fingertips to the ground. Or maybe the hands find the blocks. Keep sitting back. Don't let your standing knee move past your toes. Now, the more you sit back, the deeper you're going to feel the stretch. When you're ready, slowly and carefully come out. Let both feet ground down. You can take a moment to come onto the toes, circle out the knee, opposite direction, and then try that on the other side. Opposite direction. Good. Now bring your feet back to the top of the mat. As you inhale, sweep your arms up. And as you exhale, hinge at the hips, dive forward. Inhale, palms to shins, half lift. Exhale, fold. Stay in the fold for a couple more rounds of breath. If your hands don't meet the mat, no problem. Maybe the fingertips do. Or maybe you bring the blocks underneath the hands. You can even stay in a half lift, practicing straightening the legs to really open up the hamstrings. Reaching crown of the head forward, reaching the tailbone back. And if you're in that half lift, exhale back into a forward fold. Look at your feet. Heel toe the feet together so that the big toes meet. Little space at the heels. Bring your hands in front of your toes. Now take a deep bend in your left knee. Walk both of your hands to the outside of your left foot, or maybe the fingertips come down. Or maybe both hands come onto a block if you need a little more lift. The goal is to have that left knee bent and that right leg straight. Nice deep stretch going up the right leg into the hip, into the back space. Really lengthening. And then exhale, bend the right knee. Both knees are bent. Walk the hands over towards the feet. Inhale, take a half lift, straighten the legs. Exhale, forward fold. Let the knees bend. Now keep the right knee bent. Press into the left leg, straighten the left leg. Walk the hands to the outside of the right foot. Maybe the fingertips are grounded. Maybe the palms are grounded. Maybe you need the support of the block to give you that height. Whatever you choose is okay as long as you have that right knee bent and the left leg straight. Release the head and the neck. Let the top of the head face down. Press into that left foot. Feel a nice deep stretch going up the left leg into the hip. Might even feel it on this side of the back. Now bend the left knee. With both knees bent, walk the hands in front of the feet. Inhale, take a half lift. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees deeply. Slowly allow yourself to roll up to a standing position. Really taking your time. There's no rush. Let your head come up last to prevent you from getting dizzy. And as you roll up to your standing position, let your arms be by your sides. Back to a reflective pause. Back to checking in on your breath. You can bring your palms together, thumbs to the heart center. Inhale, feel the chest expand. Exhale, let it go. Inhale fully to the top of the breath. Exhale, slowly release. And again, deep inhale all the way to the top of the breath. Exhale, relax. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. And find your natural and spontaneous breath. The way that you breathe without force or control. Notice how it feels to be in your standing position with the soles of your feet grounded. Take a little micro bend in the knees. Pull the belly button towards the spine. This is going to be much more comfortable for your low back. If you're not sure why, check my body. If I've got my knees locked, I've got compression in my low back, okay? If I take a micro bend at my knees and pull my belly button to my spine, now I've got space at the low back. This is much better. This way I'm not causing pain for myself. So protect your body with your alignment. Take another deep inhale through your nose. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. And on your next exhale breath, open the arms by your sides. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, lower one arm down to the side body. Inhale, reach the top fingers up. And then exhale, reach overhead. Nice stretch on one side of the body. Positioning your body like the shape of a banana. Inhale, bring the top fingers up. Exhale, bring that arm down. Inhale, sweep the arms up, both of them. Exhale, opposite arm lowers down. Inhale, reach the top fingers up. And then exhale, fold over to this side. Find that banana shape again, now in the opposite direction. Feel a nice stretch in the side body. Inhale, top fingers reach up. Exhale, let them come down. Take a full round of breath here. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Gather all the energy that you need for today. Let the palms meet. Bring the thumbs down the midline. Feel the chest. Feel your heartbeat. Notice your breath. Find a moment of gratitude for yourself, for your practice today. Bowing your forehead down to your fingertips. Thanking yourself for moving through your practice today. Thank you so much for letting me guide you. Namaste. See you next time.